Welcome to 12.1. This is adding and subtracting polynomial expressions. Today and in the next video, we're going to be talking about performing operations on polynomials. Okay, we're not going to divide, but we're going to add, subtract, and multiply. So today's learning time is we'll be able to perform operations on polynomials, specifically adding and subtracting. We are going to be successful, and what it's going to look like for you is that we're going to be able to write polynomials in standard form. So our exponents go from greatest to least, with a constant at the end, and then we are going to be able to add or subtract like terms of polynomials, and then we're also going to be able to find the perimeter of a shape, which we know perimeter just means adding all of the sides around a object. So with a quadrilateral, we're going to add all four sides. With a triangle, we're going to add all three sides. All right, so let's take a little jump into this and start taking a look at some examples. So number one is saying we're going to add, we're going to find the sum of the polynomials. Sum just means add. And we are going to write that answer in standard form. So one of the first things I want to say is always pay attention to the sign in the middle. That's going to tell you what operation you're doing, whether you're adding, subtracting, or multiplying. All right. If it is adding, there has to be a plus sign. And then what I always say is this. There's always an invisible 1 in front of parentheses. Just like if we had x, it's 1x. Well, we have 1 of that parentheses set. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to clear out all of the parentheses and start working through all of our numbers. So we're going to take this and we're going to distribute that 1 into the problem. So 1 times 7m squared, 7m squared, which everything should stay the same as we're multiplying by 1, a positive 1. 1 times 3m is 3m. 1 times 14m is 14m. 1 times a negative 4m squared is negative 4m squared, and then 1 times that 6 is a positive 6. From here, we're going to focus in on combining like terms. Adding is the only thing about adding is you're combining like terms. Like terms are coefficients that have the same variable and exponent. So m squared can combine with another m squared. The coefficients do not need to be the same. However, 7m squared and a 3m are not like terms because this has a squared, this does not have a squared. All right, we can't take them and change them into it. This is where we're at. So what I do from here is I start kind of highlighting either with colors, symbols, underline, whatever I can use in order to make sure I combine the right like terms. So for example, I would put a square or a rectangle or a box around 7m squared. I'm now going to go through all of the problem, and I'm going to look for any other m squares, which is this has that negative 4m squared. I'm then going to go to the m's, and I'm going to do them a different symbol. So 3m and a positive 14m, and then finally a different symbol for that positive 6. Okay, so you can use colors, you can use symbols, you could use whatever you need to kind of help yourself visually see those like terms. From here, all we do is we add or subtract the coefficients. So 7 minus 4, so 7m squared minus 4m squared is a 3m squared. The variable and the exponent does not change. 3m plus 14m is 17m. The sign in front of the number is the part that really matters, positive and positive. And we got that plus 6 at the end. Now, for standard form, we have to make sure that it is written from greatest exponent to least, which we have m squared, m, and then our constant. So we are good there. And now we can move on to the next round. I'm sorry, we should box that final answer. It's in standard form. We added. Everything's good. All right, now moving on. Find the difference of the polynomials and write your answer. Difference means subtract, which is why there's that nice little minus sign in between the two parentheses. So from here, again, we're going to treat it just like the same way as last one. We're going to introduce those invisible 1s, and we're going to start off with distributing. Now, the first one should kind of look similar. We're multiplying by that positive 1, so nothing's changing. 1 times 2n squared is 2n squared. 1 times that 3n is positive 3n. 1 times the negative 4 is a minus 4. The part that changes is when you multiply by the negative. Negative times a positive becomes a negative n squared. One of the biggest mistakes is not distributing that negative sign all the way through. -1 times a +5 is a -5n. And then -1 times that -6 becomes a +6. So multiply by the positive, all of these stay the same. Multiply by the negative, we got to end up flipping our signs on this side. From here, it turns into exactly how we did the previous problem. We're going to start making sure we combine our like terms. So I'm going to put a box around our like terms, n squares. So 2n squared and -n squared. We have a +3n and a -5n. And then we have a -4 and a +6. I like to make sure I start out with my highest exponent so that way I don't have to rewrite it in standard form. So my highest exponent is the n squares. So 2n squared minus 1n squared is either 1n squared or just n squared. 3n minus 5n. 3 minus 5 is a -2n. Don't forget to write our variables. And then finally, -4 plus that 6 becomes a +2. We are in standard form. Our exponents go from greatest to least with the constant at the end. And that is subtracted. Last but not least, perimeter. Remember, perimeter is just adding the sides around the object. Okay, so in this problem it says the health professionals have to create a secure perimeter around a building during the outbreak. In order to make a correct arrangement, so the head of security needs the actual perimeter of the building. Find him the perimeter of the building, write your answer in standard form. So we're not going to find necessarily the number value of that, but we're going to bring it all together, again, adding our polynomials. One thing we have to remember about rectangles is opposite sides are congruent. If it was a triangle, we would just add the 3 sides and be done. But since this side and this side is the same, and same thing going this way, we're going to have to double those sides. All right. So either we're going to write this down twice, 2n squared minus 5 plus 2n squared minus 5, plus 3n squared plus 4n plus 8, and write that twice. Or, since it is just 2 times, what we can do is just simply say that. I'm going to do 2 times the one side. And again, this is only because it is a rectangle with opposite sides congruent. If this was a triangle, I would simply go through it and just add the 3 sides. Okay, and now from here, we're going to distribute our 2 instead of a 1, and we get 4x squared minus 10 plus 6x squared plus 8x plus 16. I've had students before add the 2 sides and then times it by 2, which is the same thing. Same concept, whatever works for you. All right, here we go, our like terms. 4x squared and the 6x squared. 8x is just 8x by itself. And then we have -10 and a +16. All right, so here we go. Last step. 4x squared plus 6x squared is a 10x squared. We got our plus 8x with no other like term. -10 plus 16 is a +6. And there is our perimeter. All right. Again, I'm not solving for x. I can't combine anything extra. There is no other like terms. That's it. All right. Otherwise, have a great day, and we'll see you for 12.2 in a little bit.